You do see, don't you, when there's a hint of sun, you see all these people suddenly coming out in their soft tops.
Yes.
And it's not always, but quite a large proportion of them are gentlemen of a certain age, right?
They are, like he was, yeah.
Yeah, not that we're saying anything, but anyway. Midlife crisis, anybody? Yeah,
Oh,
sure.
God, I know.
Such a cliche.
I
Such a
know.
cliche. Anyway, are we ready to rock?
We are.
Brilliant. All right then. 3, 2, 1. This is Trainer Talk, the podcast, brought to you by Sharon Gaskin of the Trainers Training Company and me, Jeanette Tessier of the Get That Gang. In our weekly show, we cover news and views from our businesses along with a top-of-mind topic. Of course, it wouldn't be Trainer Talk, the podcast, without the Dog Walking Digest, and every now and again we invite a guest along to share their experience and expertise. After 90 episodes of just audio, we're now on YouTube as well. So feel free to catch up there. Just search for the Trainers Training Company or the Get That Gang, or download us on audio only through your favourite podcast streamer. So why not sit back with a cuppa, make that journey or chore go a little bit quicker with our weekly inspiration for developing your training business. Welcome. This is Trainer Talk, the podcast, and we're at episode number 113. And Sharon, I am going to ask you how your week was, obviously, but is there a slight hint that it might be coming home?
Well, to Denmark.
We should explain, and of course by the time anybody listening to the podcast hears this, we will know the outcome of the semi-final match between England and Denmark on Wednesday in the Euros 2020 championships being held in 2021. So for anybody that is not a football fan, apologies, but we have to talk about it. And one of the things you might not know about Sharon is that she does actually follow the football. And if you've listened to the podcast, you'd have heard her talk about it over the last couple of weeks. But you tipped Denmark, didn't you, last week? And
well,
now
I did. I've been tipping them from the start after that incident that they had in their first match. After that, I just said, oh, they'll probably win the tournament now. And I've been saying that all along because they've obviously, it would be the fairy tale, they've been inspired, they've got momentum and all the rest of it. And I just, every time they win, I go, they won again. I see, Denmark, mark my words. But obviously now I'm not saying, I really hope that is not the case, obviously, because I don't want them to be England, obviously. But the woo-woo in me is thinking, Denmark are going to win the whole tournament.
But what about England's momentum? What about the smooth
I know exactly. But yes, it's all very exciting, isn't it? It's all about, you don't even have to be a football fan, really. I'm not a huge football fan. I used to be. But not so much anymore. But you don't really need to be one for something like this, do you? Because it's just like, wouldn't it be amazing after the last 18 months that we've all had to just like have something that would just uplift us all, and
absolutely
we can all get behind and celebrate? It would just be absolutely amazing.
Yeah, so, it certainly would. So I mean, it would be great for the country to have something to celebrate. But of course what we have to remember, and you being in Welsh Wales of course will know this, is that it's the England football team as opposed to the Scottish or the Welsh or Northern Ireland or however it all gets diced up. So inevitably you can just see it happening. It's like, oh yeah, England's won and all the rest of it, but don't forget those of us that haven't or whatever, and you just say, oh, there's always somebody somewhere that wants to cause division, isn't there?
Well, all I'm saying is it's all right. You'll be having your masks coming off and, whatever on the 19th of July. And we'll still be, well, it's true.
We have to take personal responsibility. Personal responsibility, apparently, is the latest phrase. So we have to exercise personal responsibility as to whether or not we want to wear them, which is kind of, well, if that's not slopey shoulders, I don't know what is. Because what's going to happen is that anybody who doesn't want to wear a mask anyway is just not going to wear one, but they're not going to take any notice of anything else that's put in place. It's like the masks are kind of a last stand type thing, because there's huge amounts of confusion still over, you know, exactly who you can meet and where you can meet them and how you can meet them and how long you can stay and all that kind of stuff. I don't think anybody's particularly clear on that, but the thing that people are clear on is that when you go out and about into a shop or a pub or wherever, you have to wear a mask. Even though, you know, we don't have to wear them for the gym, and apparently you don't have to wear them inside fan zones for football tournaments, and apparently you don't have to wear them for, you know, all sorts of things. But you know, we'll see. We will
see. Well, they are. It's going to be very interesting, because obviously Boris is going to be doing his I think it's today, isn't he? He's going to be announcing some things. But Wales will, you know, they will still. Put it this way, I'm not expecting them to fall into line with what's going on.
Carve their own path. Fair enough. All right. So apart from football-y type things. Oh, you've frozen a little bit there. You've frozed again.
Yeah, I did for some reason.
That's very odd. Yeah. Just check your internet connection. You on the right one?
It's just saying that it's unstable. So
that's annoying.
I know. It is annoying. So, what is it? Can you hear me now?
I can, yeah.
You can. Yeah, we had a power cut on Saturday. It was hilarious. Literally, just after the England match had finished. Can you imagine?
Wow.
And it went on for quite some time. It went on for like an hour and a half. We were literally sitting here in darkness with torches. Thank God for the iPhone. It's amazing how much power, how much light that can generate. You know, on your little, you know. But yes, it was. I don't know what that was all about, but it was quite a big one. It was the whole of SA3 apparently that are part of Swansea. It was the whole of it. It all went out completely.
Well, normally,
an hour and a half.
Normally you would say it's because the football's finished and everybody's putting the kettle on, but that was in Wales, not in England. So
exactly.
Very odd. Very odd.
And there's burglar alarms going off everywhere. Can you imagine? You know, it was like, oh God, it was like.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
So this is somewhat unusual insofar as we're talking about the football, but we're right in the middle of Wimbledon. So have you watched much? I mean, we know that Nadal's not there, and we know that a certain other person is doing what he's doing, and Andy Murray's out, which we kind of expected, really. I mean, I didn't expect him to get past that match.
Oh my God, I was convinced he was going to win.
Were you?
Against Dennis. I thought he would beat Dennis. I really did. I just thought, you know, but because there were, you know, flashes of, you know, of the old Andy, wasn't there, in his second match, and you know, he's got such determination and everything. I was like, oh yeah, he's going to be fine. He's going to win. And then he's like, oh no, okay, this is reality.
He's working his way back, and I think he wants to. I think for him, the biggest question mark is, you know, he didn't feel like he was injured after the match, but is there any damage? And you know, so I reckon he's probably taken the weekend to kind of get everything checked out. And if he feels okay, then that's really good news, because it all it is then is just match sharpness, isn't it? Match fitness, match sharpness.
Oh, it's lack of matches that's been his problem. But that was really sad. And so but you know, but it's still nice to you know, we won't mention the others who are in the tournament, but I know. But I will still be watching up until the point where I won't be watching. If you know what I'm saying.
I know exactly what you're saying, and regular listeners to the podcast will also know exactly what you're saying. But if he were to get to the final, and I say if, but if he were to get to the final and it was anybody other than the other one that got through to the final, would you watch just to support them? And for, close your ears, Sharon. For anybody who doesn't know, it's if Djokovic gets to the final and if it's Federer playing him. Or are they on the same side of the draw? Are they different side of the draw? I haven't looked.
They're not. They're on different sides.
Okay, so we have a potential for a Djokovic-Federer final, although Federer, is not what he was. So if it's somebody else like Medvedev or, whoever...
I'd be tempted. Certainly for the first set. you know, but if it was only going one way, then I'd switch it off.
Yeah.
But Berrettini is my one of my new favourites, because I'm already having to make space for new favourites, because I know, you know, Rafa and Andy are going to go. So I'm already thinking, who can I get behind? Because there's quite a lot of them that I don't like at all. But for various reasons. But I don't like, but some of the, Berrettini, he's lovely. He's how should we put this? He's easy on the eye.
Oh, okay, that doesn't hurt.
Check him out. Yeah, Italian, yes, and he's very nice young man.
Okay.
So watch out for him. He might make the final, actually. So that would be great if he did.
That's a big call. Okay.
I can get behind him.
Okay.
For sure. And then I like Rublev as well.
Mm-hmm.
I really like him. He's really nice. And who else do I like? I like, who else do I like?
What did you think of Korda?
Oh, yes. He's an interesting one, isn't he? Yes.
Interesting family. I mean, goodness
Interesting family with his golfing. She's number one in the world.
I know. His sister's number one in the world at golf, and he's just starting to make his name on the tennis circuit. It's just, wow. Okay.
Yeah. He's an interesting one. He's very Borg-like, isn't he?
He's quite calm.
Yeah, just like, so nothing phases him.
Yeah.
It's like, oh God, he just reminded me of that Borg.
Yeah.
Nice, cool exterior.
Which is extraordinary for a guy who, well, when he played, he wasn't yet 21, was he? So he's
incredible.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah. So he could be. I quite liked him because he's a bit like Zverev without everything that goes with
Zverev. Well, McEnroe was calling Korda as their next big champion. He's convinced that he's gonna,
I like him. Yeah. I thought he was good. Yeah, I thought he was good. I like him. I like little Alex de Minaur, the Australian. I like him. I like Dominic Thiem. I do like Dominic.
Yeah.
Because he's very much in the Rafa mold. He's that hardworking, humble guy. He's that. That's what I like.
Yeah.
I don't like his cocky ones. That's why I don't like her.
Exactly.
I don't like him either.
No.
So they're all full of themselves.
Curious.
Like, you've not won anything yet. Why are you so full of yourself?
Okay. All right. So let's move off the tennis, shall we? Let's move away from sport. In the business world, how was your week last week, Sharon? Anything exciting happened?
Oh God, I've got time to work.
I am teeing you up to talk about the new cohort of the Complete Trainer.
Oh yes. Well, we kicked it off, didn't we, on Friday?
Yeah.
With me waffling on about marketing for an hour and a half or however long I went on for. But it was nice to see. It was good. You were a participant, so I hope you enjoyed.
Absolutely. It was fantastic. Very good. Very, very good. And I think the people that were there got a lot out of it as well. They were all participating, and it was lovely to see people there who were part of the previous cohort but didn't get around to starting this time around. So that was really cool.
That was really nice. That was really nice. Apart from the tea debacle.
Well, you can't get the Suns these days, can you?
It was, it had one job.
Yeah.
To bring me in a cup of tea at 11:45.
Yeah.
And it didn't appear.
He did kind of fail on that, really, didn't he?
And I was very, very disappointed.
Yeah.
Because I need the old lubrication.
You do. Yeah. Otherwise, your throat goes dry and you can't talk about, all these important things. I hear you. I hear you. Which reminds me, I must go through that video and just delete the part where you give out Ryan's phone number. So what happened, listeners, viewers, was that Sharon was obviously in the middle of delivery, but feeling very parched because the tea wasn't forthcoming. And this was encroaching on the delivery. So I said in the chat, look, I'll text Ryan and say, oi, your mum needs a cuppa. So I thought you were going to type it into the chat or something, or just forward it to me. But no, in the middle of the webinar, you just read out his phone number. But because I wasn't expecting it, I was like, oh crap, what's that? I'm trying to write the number down. I only got half of it. But I do need to go through that video before uploading it for everybody, just to bleep out the telephone number.
Hilarious. And then when it came, it was substandard. I couldn't even drink it.
Half full cup of something that wasn't what you wanted. Yeah. He, all in all, he didn't paint a very good account of himself, really, did he?
No, you just can't get the staff, can you? Can't get the staff. You know.
Oh dear.
So that was good. And then the other thing that we did our first weekly clinic for Trainers Club members last week, because we've always done online clinics, for 4 years, but we did them monthly, and so now we do them weekly to give people more opportunities to come along. Thursday between 4 and 5:30, and that was great, wasn't it?
It was really good, yeah.
Interesting discussion.
And I've seen already this morning, I don't know if you saw in the Trainer Talk group, that I think the fact that it is going to be more regular and it's going to have its own sort of meeting slot, so to speak, as in the link to get into the meeting. I think that is looking like a good decision, because we've already got one person, lovely Jennifer Lindsay Feenan, who's already said, is it the same link? Because I'm just putting them in my calendar for the ones that I know I can make, which is brilliant, which is really good. So I think if we can get the momentum going with that, that'd be really cool on there. But yes, to have the first one, get that done and sorted, and then I've got a note of all the ones where I'm going to need to take the reins, including all of August, of course, because don't forget, podcast listeners, podcast viewers, if you're new to the podcast, you may not realise that we'll be having a little bit of a break coming up soon for the podcast, because Sharon doesn't do Zoom in August, so we'll just be recording. I'm just checking on the calendar now, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, so including this one, we've got 4 to go until you have a little break, until we have a little break from the podcast. So it's all good. It's all good. All right. Anything else exciting for you last week?
No, I don't think so. They were the highlights, I think, of my week. I think. What about you?
So my week, I'm going to start with the business and end with the non-business stuff. So what happened for me was somebody that I had originally started talking to way back in lockdown 1. Oh, hello, Jem. You see? I swear, I'm getting paranoid. She doesn't bark until I start talking. Morning, Jem. Is that enough? Are we all done? Jolly good. All right then. So somebody that I was originally speaking to back in lockdown 1, so March last year, and was talking to him about doing some online course stuff, and he was sort of veering between the done for you, done by you programs. And I sent a proposal through, and well, I say proposal, really it was just a breakdown of this is what you get with the done for you, this is what you get with the done by you. There you go. And then complete radio silence. Didn't hear another word from him until probably last weekend. Not the one just gone, the one before, or tail end of the previous week. Anyway, the point was, he was saying, oh, I finally got around to recording the first module. Can we have a chat? So I was able, obviously, to send him the Calendly link. And then we caught up on, I think it was Wednesday, we caught up, which was fantastic to sort of chat with him. And it was one of those meetings where you instantly like the person you're talking to, and it didn't feel like it had been more than a year since we'd last spoken, and we've slipped into a sort of a conversational rhythm really easily, which was lovely. So just talking to him in terms of where he's at and what he needs and all the rest of it. So I've got a little bit of follow-up stuff to do on that and get back in touch with him today. But he and his wife have flown out to Dubai. I think they're flying today, actually, and not back until September. I thought it was just like a mini break. The way you talked about it, it was sort of, oh yeah, we're going out to Dubai just to escape for a bit. And then on a WhatsApp message said, oh yeah, I'm not back till September. Oh, okay, right. No, I understand. So looking forward to getting stuck into that sort of work. We had book club last week for Trainer Talk.
Oh, of course, yes,
absolutely. And I'd already sort of put my hands up and said, sorry, no, haven't read this one. I just didn't get
I did.
around to it. Did you?
I did.
Did you? What did you think?
I thought it was good. I thought it was kind of interesting because clearly the book is it's just a series of blog posts that have been
Okay.
put together into a book.
Mhm.
Nothing wrong with it, but it's clearly because at the end of each chapter, he, by the way, we better
Show
probably
it.
say what
Yes.
it is. Yeah, here's the book. So it's a book here. It's called Authentic Content Marketing, which I was actually by George
Cow. Yeah.
and I was actually quite appalled when I first got it because I was
remember.
like, it was like 10 quid, and it was like, is this
Is
it?
that
It's
it?
73 pages. It's like a bit short change there.
Uh-huh.
So, but actually, and so I can see now why it's so short, because it literally is just blog posts that he's put together. But what was quite interesting with it is that at the end of each chapter, he puts a little link to what he calls a companion video.
Okay.
You can see there my purple tick. That means I watched said video. And I watched all of them, and they basically take you, all of those links, they take you to a Facebook live that he did.
Interesting.
And then you can see, and quite often it takes you to just basically that which he's posted as a text in Facebook. So I thought, well, that's an interesting, just cobbling together a load of blog posts and turning them into a book.
So this is interesting for two reasons. One is there any upsell? So every time you've gone on to see this stuff, have you been encouraged to buy anything at any point? Is it a funnel or not?
Not really.
Okay.
No.
All right. So maybe there's going to be some kind of retargeting. So that will be interesting to know whether or not at some point in the next 6 months you get a retargeting ad on Facebook for doing that, which I can see happening, which she says makes note to self for her book. But the other thing is it's interesting from the point of view of what you and I have, off and on had discussions about, which is things like the top of mind topics that we've had in the podcasts, and also some of the stuff from the Complete Trainer. There's amazing content there. There's definitely at least 2 books out of all of it. It's a question of getting the time to put it together to do something with it. But it would be, the top of mind topic stuff would be the equivalent of blog posts, really, wouldn't it? Like he's done, in that book.
Yeah.
So.
Or maybe we find somebody to do that, to put that together for us.
Absolutely.
All the top of mind topics, that could be turned into a book. But yeah, it was good. It was sort of simple, basic stuff, but actually, good. Talking about things like free versus paid content. This business about being authentic, being yourself. Yeah, being on camera. Building an audience, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Not being perfect, just kind of get you looked at, just getting out there and doing
Definitely.
Not, thinking of yourself as sort of helping people rather than bothering them, when you're creating your content. Yeah. So there was a lot of good stuff in there.
Brilliant.
I enjoyed it. It was good.
Excellent. All right. I'm just making a note here of the stuff that we're discussing so that it's nice and easy when it comes to the editing. Top tip for you, any readers or listeners, if you have your own podcast, is to make a note of what you talk about as you go through it, because I guarantee by the time you come around to editing it, you will have forgotten, particularly if you're women of a certain age. But anyway. So good. All right. So really interesting to get your thoughts on that, because you weren't able to make the meeting in the end. So that's really good. So we had that, and then on Thursday you've already mentioned the clinic, and Friday we had obviously the Complete Trainer, first webinar of the new cohort. I was also copper sitting on Friday, so the bowls season is well underway with all sorts of things happening, and because Mum is going to be president of Ladies Bowls Dorset next year, there's all sorts of things that she's required to go and attend, because at the moment she's vice president, and it's this whole big thing that the woman who, she was supposed to be president this year, but of course the woman who was president last year didn't really get a year because there was no bowls going on, even though they probably could have done if they'd if Bowls England, or England Bowls, whatever they're called, had pulled their finger out and got permission from the government and all that kind of stuff. But Anyway, long story short, the woman who was president last year has stayed on to be president for an extra year. And at one point, Mum was wondering whether or not she was going to stay on for a third year, because there was still a question of whether or not anything was going to go ahead, and county matches and all this kind of stuff. But there's tons going on. It's really ramping up, which means that I get the phone call say, "Can you come and cop a sit, please?" So that was fine. So after the webinar had finished on Friday and I'd done a few bits and pieces and got some stuff together, I went up to Mum's and worked from there for the afternoon, and then we had some family stuff going on over the weekend. So John, my stepdad, his daughter and granddaughter came over for a meal, so that was nice. But we had then effectively our Sunday lunch on the Saturday, which then meant that on the Sunday it was kind of, okay, this is weird. It feels like, is it Monday? No, it's not Monday. It's definitely Sunday, but it feels like Monday because we had a roast yesterday, so we're kind of out for the whole day. But what it meant was that normally what Mum and John do is they have bubble and squeak on a Monday from all the leftover veg from the Sunday.
Love bubble and squeak.
Yeah. So Mum said, right, I'm just going to put all the veg and just put it on the plate, it up and microwave it to heat it up, and we'll have cold meat and whatever. And she said, unless you want bubble and squeak. And actually, I'd really like bubble and squeak, please. So they're now completely out from what they normally have on a Monday. So I don't know what they're going to do for their food this evening. But it was nice. It was so nice. We had carrot, broccoli, green beans, potato. Was there something else? Can't remember. Don't think so. I think that was it. But it was a nice mixture.
It's lovely. Yeah, it's really lovely.
Very,
yeah,
very
really
good.
Nice,
so that was good. And it's one of John's specialities. He doesn't cook much, but he does do a mean bubble and squeak. So that was nice. So apart from that and stuff for the Dog Walking Digest, which was mainly revolving around missing the rain, thank goodness.
God.
That was it. That was my weekend.
Yeah. Oh, one other thing happened last week. I did. I mention in last week's podcast that I got LinkedIn Live? So
yes, you did. You mentioned that. Have you been live yet?
I've been live. Yeah, it was dead easy because I just did it. I just added it onto my StreamYard link so that when I go live on StreamYard, which I basically every Tuesday at 12:30 I do my Tuesday tips.
Mm-hmm.
And I basically now I was streaming it into the members group, Training Swap members group, into the free How to Build a Training Business group on Facebook, onto the Trainers Training Company page, and now it goes onto LinkedIn as well. 4 places. No getting away from me. I'm there.
Excellent.
Every Tuesday.
Definitely. Well, it's we need a growth spurt. We need a growth spurt on your list, I feel. It's time. It's time to start getting more people on. And refreshing things, shaking out a few cobwebs, that kind of thing.
So I was, but what I couldn't work out, and I had no way of doing this until I actually did it, was whether the comments would, on your StreamYard thing, whether they would show up there or whether I would have to keep going back to LinkedIn.
Because then you'd have to have...
but no, it does. So somebody was on LinkedIn and made a comment. And then in my StreamYard thing with comments, I had a little LinkedIn icon to say it was coming from LinkedIn.
Oh, brilliant.
Like, this is amazing.
Oh, that'd be very cool then, because you could and Bob on LinkedIn says XYZ. Sophie on Facebook.
I know, exactly. Yeah, well, there was only one comment, so, it wasn't like...
Give it time. The word will spread.
Yeah, exactly. So that was good. So that feels like, just to kind of...
that's my next mission then, is the next time you're live. If I'm around,
come on,
I have to go on every single platform that you're on and leave a comment on all of them.
Absolutely. I need some comments, people.
Definitely look out for it. This one is.
Although people are there. And that maybe it will be a topic for another day. But people are there. I can see that, and I do say, well, come on, I can see that we have X people watching, so come and say hello because I'd love to know who you are.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. They don't always though.
I know it's a bit of an odd one, isn't it?
They like to lurk.
Yeah. Well, we know that people do. They do like to lurk. So we had somebody on the Complete Trainer who you first had a conversation with back in 2016, didn't you? So I know. She's good. I almost put in the comments. See, we stalk you for a long time, but. Anyway,
amazing, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. So shall we move on to our top of mind topic for today?
Yes, why don't we do that?
Alrighty, so this one is based on one of the 2-minute thinkers that I put into my Facebook group, funnily enough, this morning, which was one that I was thinking about. What I like to do is have a little think about what I'm going to talk about on the dog walk first thing in the morning. And I try and do the longest one as the first one because it's a real chance to sort of wake up and get a bit of fresh air before the day started. It sets me up really nicely and gives me an opportunity to think about what to talk about. So this morning, what I was thinking about was, how easy we make it as business owners for people to actually buy from us. And this is connected a little bit with our marketing funnels. It's connected a little bit with our limiting beliefs around whether or not we should put things like prices on our website. And it's connected a little bit to marketing in general. So the sort of information that we put out there for people. But essentially, whether you are business to business or business to consumer, how easy are you making it for somebody to come across your material and then get to the point of saying, yes, I want to buy something? And if it's business to consumer and you're doing it through your website, that could be clicking the button to buy. Or if it's business to business, then it could be, right, I need to get in touch with this person because I would like to have another conversation about how to book them or something like that. And very often, particularly I find when I'm sort of looking on people's websites and that kind of thing, they don't want to give away information like their telephone number.
Or, that's a classic. Phone numbers.
Yeah. Or an email address or something like that, or you've got to fill in an incredibly complicated contact form when actually you kind of, especially if you've done the job up until that point, this person might be sitting there going, right, I'd really like to book this person. Oh my God, I've got to jump through all these hoops just to have a conversation with them. I'm not going to bother.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, you must see it all the time.
I'm always amazed at the number of people that do not have phone numbers on their websites or the LinkedIn profile. And purely because, again, I think people, so we were talking about this last week, weren't we, about this, I don't want to give my phone number away. I don't want people phoning me, because they might try to sell me something.
Yeah.
But it's like...
They also might try and buy something.
I want to buy something, I know. It's like...
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
It's I just find it quite staggering, actually.
It is.
But it seems to be really common.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's a really easy one to tick off the list, isn't it? In terms of, is it easy for somebody to get in touch with you? But also, is it easy for them to understand who you are and what you do? Is it easy for them to understand how you might be able to help them? Is it easy for them to understand what sort of time commitment might be required in doing that? And particularly for trainers, I'm staggered by the number of trainers' information that I see about their programs and their courses, and they don't talk about this being a 1-hour workshop or a half-day course or a full-day course or a 2-3 week-long commitment, a whole big program that goes over 6 months, whatever it might be. It's like we try, or no, we don't try. We make our potential buyers work too hard to work out what is going on and whether or not we're right for them. And I think sometimes that is born out of particularly things around pricing. That is born out a little bit of, I don't want other people to see what my prices are, and what if what they want is more than what I've quoted or on the website or whatever. Well, then you tell them that what they're asking for is more than, and you make it clear on the website, this is an indicative amount for this workshop. However, call us to arrange, something specific for you. And that's when you have that conversation. But it's one of those things where I think it's really worthwhile just going back and checking, right, if I was coming at this with a fresh pair of eyes, how quick and how easy is it for somebody to go, yep, I understand who they are, I understand what they can give me, how do I buy from them? I mean, it's really as simple as those three questions.
And, and we're not, as I say, not immune from this. I mean, I've had to, in the last week or so, change the associate alert service page because I looked at that. I got a couple of other people to look at that as well, because I realized that we were getting a lot of traffic to that page, but not necessarily the conversions. And we've been through coronavirus, but I would have thought it would started to sort of pick up a bit by now. And, you know, when we looked at that, and I got a couple of other people said, just take a glance, tell me, you know, what, and both of them said, how do you, where do you sign up? How do you, and it was there, but it wasn't obvious. People had to go looking for it, you know, so it is worth doing that, you know, because I think with our own web pages and our own stuff, we get so close to it.
Totally.
And in your mind, you think, well, I've done that. The button's there. You know, I've got that. People are, I've got the phone number's there. It's on the website.
Yeah.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
But where is it?
Yeah.
And how easy it is? Because as we know as well, and we talk about this a lot, don't we? People are, and when we say people are lazy, we don't mean that in a disparaging way. We mean it. That's just the way it is, with the 24/7 world that we live in.
Absolutely.
People have got used to, if it doesn't leap out and hit you over the head with a frying pan, then people are not inclined to go searching for it, because that's their habits. They've not been trained that way, because it's a world that we live in.
Exactly that. Yeah.
So unless you do that, people sadly are just going to go off somewhere else. So you've got to hit them over the head with a frying pan,
completely,
with the information that you want them to read.
Absolutely. And this reminds me of a program that I don't have available at the moment, but when I did, I had a sales page, and right at the top of the sales page I put a button that said click here to join now. Right, and then it launched into the sales page, and long story short, with the sales page, you don't actually want to put the pricing until quite far down, because you want people to go down to find it. However, having this button at the top, because I knew some people had already talked to me about it and would just want to go to the page so they could book nice and quickly. It's like, right, fine, I'll put it there. And then I got a comment from somebody in one of my pages, or one of the groups that I'm in, or something, saying, oh yeah, but you made me work too hard to find the buy button. And I said, right, okay, but there's literally a button at the top of the page that says, and he said, oh okay, I didn't see that. And I'm like, well, how much more can I do? It's literally there saying buy it now. And you know, clearly there is more that I could have done. He was complimentary about the copy, that I said, yeah, but you did read it. And he said, oh yes, it was a very good copy. Thank you very much. But you know, even when we think we are making stuff easy for people, it's still, you know, it might not be enough of a bash around the head with the frying pan. The frying pan might not be big enough, you know, it might not be weighty enough for people. And it is, absolutely, as you say, it's not being disparaging, people being lazy. It's just that we have been conditioned to expect.
The word I was looking for. Conditioned.
Instant gratification.
Instant gratification. Yeah,
totally. So we go to a page and we want to know how much it is. In fact, I mean, we go to a page to find out more. We each have a different idea of how much we need to know before we want to know the price. So you are never going to create something that is perfect for everybody, but what you can do is make it nice and easy for people to find the information that they want. So if they want to know the price, make it easy to find the price. If they want to know, you know, what the commitment is, what sort of offering it is, make it nice and easy for them to know what it is without having to work too hard to find that out. Because, you know, even if we have got the time to do it, we feel like we haven't. And that, I think, is a key point as well, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I quite often get emails from people going, can you unsubscribe me? And I was like, well, how about just clicking the button at the bottom of the email? You know, but people don't. And so because you've got to make it obvious.
Absolutely. But even again, when you think that you have, so I can think of a recent email campaign that we've done, where there was literally in the middle of the copy a great big button that says click here to stop hearing about this thing.
Yeah.
Literally. And yet you still had one or two people who actually took the time to send you an email to say, can you stop sending me this stuff, please? It's like, there's a button. It's right in the middle of it. You can't miss it. Like, you know.
Maybe we should have some kind of frying pan GIF in the middle of it or something.
Yes. Get ready. We're about to whack you around the head.
Read this. It's at the bottom of the page.
I know. I mean, it is. Right. It's one of those things, isn't it, where it's kind of people are so I think fatigued actually by seeing things that say this is really important, this is really urgent, you must read this, and it actually not being urgent or important.
Yeah,
That now when it is urgent or important for them to read something, because it is critical as to whether or not they're going to get something or miss something or whatever it might be, they just don't necessarily take much notice of it. And I'm just as guilty as anybody else, and I'm sure you are as well. You know, you sort of see stuff, you get emails in. I get a ton of emails that come in about different things.
yeah.
You know, some of it is stuff that I'm doing because it's competitor analysis. Some of it is stuff that I am genuinely interested in the person and what they've got and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. Very often now I will try and play the Facebook algorithm at its own game. So if there is something that I know I want to read later, I will deliberately click on the advert, not necessarily to go through to the sales page, but if I open up the comments, I know then that I will be retargeted then with that advert, and the next time I see it might be a more convenient time for me to start reading about it. So
Yeah.
you know, you can play the algorithm at its
Yeah.
own game kind of thing to
Yeah.
do that. But then also there are other things where I think, ooh, it looks like there aren't very many nice comments about this. I want to read this to see what they're saying because it's something that's in a similar field to me. And I always find it more interesting to read the negative comments than the positive comments, because the negative ones tell you what the offer is missing.
Yeah.
You know, or what people are expecting. Aside from, you know, it's no fun to read idiots that are just trolling. For trolling's sake, but for people who are potentially genuine buyers going, yeah, but you didn't tell me about this bit, or it doesn't offer you that bit, or something like that, that can be really interesting. Anyway, that's a tangent, a whole other tangent
Yeah.
of stuff. But you know, keeping it to you know, your minimum viable product or proposition, so that people can know what they need to know. And realistically, it's what we were saying, wasn't it? It's, you know, who are you and what have you got and is it for me? A kind of, you know, I mean, even the who are you isn't that important. It's the what have you got and is it for me? That's what people want to know. And then the who are you probably comes a little way after that, and price is going to be in there at some point for people, isn't it? So
who are you? What do you do? Who do you do it for? Who have you? How good are you? So there's your testimonials. How much does it cost? And how can I contact you to find out more?
And that's the crucial bit, isn't it? Don't take somebody through all of that and then make it really difficult for them to get in touch with you or for them to buy.
Because you don't want to put your phone number on there.
Exactly.
You don't want people to sell you things.
Exactly that. Exactly that.
Business. Well, how can you not want people to contact you when you're running a business?
This really offends you, doesn't it? You really don't like it.
It really does. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, but absolutely. And I'm sure, I mean, at one point, rather, there was something that went through saying that actually legally you have to have a contact number and email address. I think there might be something about if you're selling off your website, you have to do that for sure. So you don't necessarily have to do it if all your website is a glorified business card, or it's a brochure. You know, it's an online brochure, something like that. But if you're selling from your website, then I think you have to have a phone number and you have to have an email address on there. But even that, I mean, you know, and I'm guilty of this as well. My website business, Get That Website Online, the email address I put out there is hello@getthatwebsiteonline.com. And now I'm looking at it thinking, actually, it should be a name, because you know, that then implies that they're going to get through to a real person, which they do. You know, any of the email addresses connected to my stuff comes through to me. Even if it is an email address for my VA, for example, you know, she knows that I see those emails as well. So interesting. So there we are. Is it easy? I'm not sure our discussion was easy to follow because we just sort of went all over the place on that one. But yeah, there's one to think about, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so Dog Walking Digest.
Well, not so much a dog walking digest today, but I know we like talking about wildlife on this show.
Let's be more accurate about this. This is wildlife that actually jumps out in front of you on a regular basis.
Well. You're going to love this story. So this is not to do with me. This is somebody else. And I'm thinking, shall I share this story about Ian, my personal trainer?
Yes, do.
Listen, and he's not going to come across it, so you know,
it's fine.
And it's a very funny story, but This is all about birds.
Okay. This is the same Ian who let his dog out in amongst sheep the other week.
The same
right?
one.
Yeah.
Indeed, yeah, the same one. Yet another incident.
Mhm.
So he was on his bike because he's like, he's a serious cyclist and all the rest of it. He's a lycra clad, cyclist and the rest of it.
Yeah.
He's going along on one of his rides the other day, and he was attacked by a buzzard.
A buzzard?
Buzzard.
What?
So literally, this buzzard came down and he's cycling along. And they're massive birds, aren't they? Yeah. They're absolutely massive. And it literally flew into him as he was cycling, attached itself, and he had his beak in his chest.
No! Oh my God.
And then he's like he's trying to get control of his, and unfortunately, this was on the main road. So fortunately, there were no other cars coming either way, because he had to fight to get control of the bike. And this was really hurting because his beak was not going in and all the rest of it. And anyway, then he managed to stop and everything, and then and then he stopped, and then this buzzard was like flapping around and everything with his huge wings, and eventually he just got it off.
Yeah.
And then it was sort of on the ground, and it sort of stunned itself because it stuck, flying into him. And he said, he's got his little watch on, and he said, my heart rate was like
I can imagine.
Going like
wow.
off the scale. So anyway, so he was sorted all that out, and he was all right. The funniest thing about that little part of the story was that he was telling this story in the gym to one of the other trainers, and he said with a deadpan face, he went, I know that bird.
Is it well known for flying into cyclists?
I know. He said, I see it flying around. I know that bird. And when he told me, I was on the floor crying with he knows that bird.
That's ridiculous. Oh, good grief.
Oh my God. Anyway, then it gets worse because they had this, and then the next day he was driving along, and he's got one of these he's got this sort of big van thing. Yeah. And he had, and things can fly into it, I guess, because it's all open at the back. Yeah. And he's flying along. Next minute, this bird got into the
cab
by the driver's seat, and it was like flying around.
Oh my God.
Bird. He's like, God, like what? So he had to pull over and it didn't attach itself to him, but it was a bit of an incident. He got rid of this bird. The next day, he's sitting in his garden having a cup of tea. And like just reading whatever he was doing in his garden. He said he was sitting in his garden. Next minute, bang! This bird flew into the French doors.
Oh my word!
It stunned itself.
See, the universe is trying to tell him something.
And this morning, when he arrived at the gym, he got out of the car, and this bird dropped from the sky and just at his feet.
No. Yes, absolutely. The universe is trying to tell it something. The
woo-woo of what?
That's hilarious. Oh my God. Wow.
I know.
I wonder what that could mean.
It's in Wales, I'm telling you.
Absolutely.
And as for, we know that bird.
That's funny. You are in a right little kind of, microcosm community down there. That's hilarious.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Bill the buzzard attacking cyclists, and that's so funny. Oh my word.
Oh,
okay,
dear.
All right then. So
you go top that then.
I'm not sure I can, but I do bring news of. Early podcast listeners will remember that I have talked previously about a couple of people that are on the usual sort of dog walking circuit around here. So you may have heard me talk about Granny Annie and Sandra, who's got Lucky. Now we haven't seen Sandra and Lucky for a little while, mainly because Sandra's son has banned her from driving because he says she's too dangerous. So he basically took her car keys away from her, and because she lives a little way away, she hasn't been over for a long time. I think she's probably waiting for somebody to pick her up or something. Anyway, long story short, nobody's going to do that because of the way she treated them when she broke a leg. I can't remember. Anyway, she was very ungrateful for all the help that she got. So, long story there. Anyway, Granny Annie has been going around on her own, and that's fine. And she's harmless, a little bit of banal conversation, but she's a well-meaning person, is where I would go with this. But Granny Annie got very upset the other day. I don't think I've told you this one. Very upset because a lady who had 2 dogs, one of which was, it must have been a Spaniel Lab cross, I think. But I was, there's a pond at Queen's Park, regular listeners will know this. I was walking from one direction towards the pond, and this woman walked past me, and she'd been calling her dog, and there were a few people around, Granny Annie included, and she walked past me, she said, "Oh, that blooming dog," and she'd got one dog on a lead and another lead. She said, "Blooming dog, never listens to me, won't follow me," all the rest of it. And she's sort of, she started walking, she said, "He'll follow me eventually." And I'm going, oh, right, okay, kind of random conversation to have. But anyway, trotting along, get up towards the pond, and I can see the pond at this point. It's, it's not like it's around a corner or anything. And I see Annie's there. And she's going, "Oh my God, that dog. This dog is literally in the middle of the pond terrorizing all the ducks." And it's a big source of contention because this particular pond has got quite a lot of bird wildlife on it. To be honest, there's probably a bit too much there. It's a little bit unsustainable, and all the drakes and ducks are pairing off and having babies, and not all the babies survive because, little ducklings and so on. But the thing is, they put up fencing around sort of probably about, I would say, half of the front of it. At the back it's all reeds and stuff, so you can't really get through anyway. But this fencing is designed to stop dogs getting into the water so that the birds have a bit of protection. And there's a sign up that says, we welcome responsible dog walkers, but please don't let your dog in the water when the birds are around. So there's a bit over to the right hand side as you look at the pond, which is where people that have dogs that like the water, mine is not one of them, can throw balls and all that kind of stuff, and that's fine. But occasionally a dog will start sort of, jumping around. It's not, they say danger deep water. It's not that deep. It's actually, the danger is more from the reeds and pondweed and that kind of thing. But this dog was jumping up and down all over the place, completely ignoring her calling and all the rest of it. And then she decides to walk off on the assumption that this dog is going to follow her, which clearly it's not, because it's having a whale of a time chasing around after all these ducks, and they're all sort of flying around and all the rest of it. And so Granny Annie was absolutely furious with this woman because it's not the first time this has happened. She's blah, 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 like this. This woman then comes back and starts trying to call the dog, who is obviously completely ignoring her or looking around going, "Yeah, no, I'm not coming out." And the woman's sort of saying, "Oh, it's the first time she's done this. She's never done it before." And Annie's going, "She has. I've seen her here before. I'm getting her." So off she trots to the council sheds where all the workmen are, the guys that look after the greens for the golf course and all the rest of it. And she comes back with the park warden, who is one of the guys there, and he's saying to this woman, "Well, you have to go in and get it." And she goes, "Yeah, right." He said, "No, you'll have to go in and get it." So, "I'm not going in." "Well, your dog is terrorising the what?" "Well, I'm not doing it." I'm thinking, oh my word, now I'm late for the gym at this point, so yeah. I have to sort of go, "Oh well, everybody have a nice day," like this, and off I wander. But yes, I've never seen Granny Annie that furious. I think she was particularly upset because there is a racing pigeon that has clearly lost its way on its way back from wherever, because it's got a little tag thing around its leg. But she often brings seeds down for the wildlife, so the crows basically follow her around the park, and the magpies, because they know that she's got bird seed. But she's taken to feeding this pigeon, and of course the ducks have twigged onto this, as have the moorhens. She's got little dog Maggie, who's gorgeous, but all the birds completely ignore Maggie. So I think she was really upset because she kind of sees herself as a bit of a custodian of the wildlife in the pond, even though it's nothing to do with her. She's just a resident that happens to walk her dog there. So that's the news of Granny Annie, bird whisperer, and also very upset. I mean, I don't know whether or not this woman has done it before, but it's like, okay, well, when you do eventually get your dog out, you're never going to be able to let it off the lead again
No.
around here.
Exactly.
Because, you know, that's it now. You're collared for how long. This dog, I mean, you know, all the birds were fine and all the rest of it. We have had incidents where birds have been lost to dogs that aren't under control and the rest of it. And it is easy to laugh at it. I mean, you know, the birds can obviously fly away and get away. There weren't any ducklings around at that point. This dog was having an absolute whale of a time, sort of jumping around and, you know, and oh, look, there's more over there. Jump, 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 and going over to them. So, yeah, there we go. Not quite as much fun as Bill the Buzzard, but
No.
but that's the latest from Queen's Park. All right. Any more for any more? Are we there?
I don't think so. I
All
don't
right.
think so. So thank you very much, everyone, for your time listening to us this morning. And, you know, let's hope it's good news on the football front.
Absolutely.
Next time.
Well, yes, we'll know, won't we? This time next week. Woohoo!
We certainly will.
Anyway, all right.
Have a
Take care,
great
everybody.
week, everybody. Enjoy. See you soon.
Bye.
The recording has stopped.